I think I got like 7 discovery calls from that, and I think there were 12 people in the room. I mean, it was wild. That worked. That worked. And it does not feel salesy. And there was just this ease and energy that I can't really explain, but it was palpable. My bandwidth really and strategy shifted from if this is kind of the consistent demand that I'm seeking, like I need to now move to leverage and scale. I enrolled in TPN and really started to lean into business mentoring and trying to create some clarity with the steps to take to grow.
All right. We're so excited about this. Welcome to the podcast, Devin Delaney. This is long overdue. How long have you been in the TPN program? Do you know?
Oh my gosh. TPN program. I want to say 2022. Does that sound right? Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yes. And so I have watched your business change over the years a little bit. And I especially love what we've been coaching on recently, which is why I knew we needed to do a podcast episode because Devin has a lot to share about doing in person events in her local community. And we're going to get into that and how that has changed for you and what's working well for you there right now. I think you have a lot to share. But before we do, can you tell everybody who you are? Like, how did you get here? Give your little origin story. We got to know more about how you got to this point.
My origin story. I would say, like a lot of us, I was inspired to do this work through my own health struggles, my own health journey. So really before becoming a functional practitioner, I was an elite athlete. I was a alpine ski racer and I
I
was
was just
chasing.
over there. I was like, this is so fun. You're recording this during the Olympics.
I
Like, how
am
fun is
journey
that?
with it. It's so inspiring. So I was chasing my ski racing dreams. I was on the national team for a handful of years and then rounded out my career competing in college. And my parents own a restaurant. I've always been into food and was really always comfortable in the kitchen. I kind of took on that nurturing role with my teammates and preparing meals and things like that. So there was like this obvious like foodie piece to my picture. And then I applied that in just wanting to fuel my body and eat well and train hard. And I was thinking I was doing all the right things in this like pursuit of performance. But really, there were subtle signs along the way that my body was struggling for sure. So lots of gut dysfunction and hormone imbalance and things like that, different like food sensitivities. I feel like I say now to my clients, like my gut is kind of my Achilles heel when I'm not taking care of myself. It reminds me, in those different ways, and that's sort of where my business has, shifted in terms of, like, my specialty is definitely gut and digestive function and hormone imbalance. So I just ignored signals like a lot of people do, just pushing through, unwilling to let things get in the way of my goals and just like stayed hyper focused until my body was screaming at me. And I went on a journey of like doctor dating and trying to find answers and, felt more called to working with functional practitioners and wasn't getting the answers I needed and got to this point of like, I'm quitting my high stress sales job, which wasn't doing any favors for my health. I went from like elite athlete to high pressure cooker sales position.
And
And
nobody's surprised
yeah,
whatsoever.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like groomed for it, but my body wasn't happy. Um, and so in 2018, I left my more corporate job and enrolled in the Nutritional Therapy Association and really started to apply what I was learning with kind of that like root cause foundational approach, as you know, with your background, and finally started feeling better and feeling my body heal. And I completely lost my identity as an athlete. I had no energy. I remember trying to walk down the driveway and feeling exhausted. And this was like a drastic wake up to what I was used to. And once I finished that program, I was just so inspired to use my ski racing connections and be like, God, I wish I knew this when I was when I was competing. And so I started reaching out to ski clubs and ski teams and just sharing, like, I would love to speak to your athletes and to your programs and talk about blood sugar and talk about snacks and how to fuel and how to hydrate. Um, and so I did that for that summer. I went out to Mount Hood, Oregon, where it's kind of like a ski hub for all these teams. And I just started giving presentations and putting my name out there, utilizing my ski connections. And word kind of got out, and a ski academy where I used to go to in high school reached out, and they were really focusing on their high performance team. So this is like a US Ski Team affiliate, and you're a high performance center based on, your strength and conditioning facilities and sports psychology and things like that. And they were wanting to hire a high performance director of nutrition. And so I was moving to Salt Lake with my partner who was starting grad school, and I got this opportunity, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I feel like I have to take this. I'm moving to Vermont." So I
So
applied.
Salt Lake didn't happen.
Say it again.
Salt Lake didn't happen.
Salt Lake did not happen for me. My partner went to Salt Lake. He started his master's program. I went to Vermont and started uh getting in the mindset of, oh my goodness, I'm a director of nutrition out of the Nutritional Therapy Association, and just what a gift to like utilize the ski community and kind of the career I had had and those connections to just see this natural fit, to be able to really know the ins and outs of this sport and what these kids are going through and have the education to back it up. So I got to work with the dining hall on like menu building and meals and those sorts of things. And then also teaching and educating kids on and off the hill. So more different
What age range are the kids that you're working with in this
high
era?
school. So basically, some students were 8th grade, but mostly 9 through 12.
Okay.
Yep.
I have
Uh,
I have one close, and so I give you a lot of credit for how fun it was for me to give those recommendations. Although I'm sure coming from a third party, it's different than when it's your mom. But I just
oh,
bless
absolutely.
bless.
I mean, the parents were so excited about this role because it needed to come from someone other than themselves. And just like I do with my clients, I try to just build a rapport and connection and level of respect, um and definitely act like I don't know it all, and this is how I can help. And yeah, it was a learning experience, but so amazing and really cool to impact a younger generation of kids and athletes. So um, that position really deserved like a good 5 years to get it off the ground, and my COVID happened during that time. So that was like 2019, 2020, 2021. I was there for just over 3 years and ended up leaving the school and moving to Idaho, where I now live with my husband, and started my own practice I think I opened my LLC in 2021, and I didn't know anyone here. And that fall, I met with a local gym owner, really to make a business connection. A friend had connected us, and I was like, I'm starting my nutrition practice as my background. There seems to be a lot of alignment. I'd love to, help your clients in any way. I also got a personal training certification after college. Again, just like loving all things health and wellness, trying to move out of corporate and into that space while my health was going through that journey. And she needed a trainer. So I ended up working at this gym for like a good 3 years.
You're new in town. You've just moved. You're new.
Brand new, and it ended up being such a blessing because I really met the community. It's a small community, but man, all my friends and first clients locally were through that gym, and just getting my name out there, and personal training and teaching classes and building friendships and just networking from there. So that was huge. Um, my husband works at from home too, so it would have been like both of us in a new place working from home, like hard to get out and make connections. Um, so that was amazing. And I started giving presentations for that gym and for the local ski club. And that's really where it started um, in this presentation conversation, which we'll get into the nitty gritty more and how that's transformed my business. But yeah, I think within that next year, I enrolled in TPN and really started to lean into business mentoring and trying to create some clarity with the steps to take to grow as I was ready to grow. And I really needed that direction. I think many practitioners starting out can resonate with the feeling of just like, there are so many distractions And you feel like you got to do this and you got to do this, you got to do this. And it's really overwhelming and really paralyzing. So I just felt such a sense of relief to be in your program and to have like, okay, do this and put the blinders up and then you're ready for this and the blinders up, and really stay focused and move at that pace, and not get distracted. So keep taking action, keep putting one step in front of the other. And
Which
that's
you've
really
done
how.
such a good job. I mean, you really have. Like, you've done so good. I remember some of our early coaching was, and now this makes more sense to me because I have to tell everybody, like, I don't know this whole story, so I'm learning with you. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you did what? And then you moved where?" And I'm getting it's just filling in the gaps for me because I remember some of our early coaching back years ago was you were like, "Okay, I have these personal training clients and I know what they need there." And it's like, I know they really need the nutrition piece, but like, how do we bridge the gap here? And like, how do we make it the whole thing? And I know a lot of people listening to that will, or to this episode will resonate with that. Like, yeah, people do come to me for personal training or people do come to me for yoga or Pilates or the other things, but like, I know that there's so much more that we could do and how do I bridge the gap there? So keep going with your story. We're gonna or I'll just interject to where I feel like I can give a little more context, but this is so fun.
Yeah. So then I would say in that time, I want to say, what was the year? 2023. So I think I had been in TPN for about a year and I was um craving like better results and being able to help clients at a deeper level. And also with my own health, I think I had moved the needle so much with stuff I had learned from the Nutritional Therapy Association and kind of embracing this life and lifestyle. And they're like these little reminders that my journey, you know, lesson learned, it's never over, right? There's always like more layers to the onion in all of our health journeys and work journeys, business journey. So I was ready for like, I wanted to do deeper stool testing and gut healing and like see what's going on so I could really lean into my next layer of healing. And so I found the Restorative Wellness Solution program and got super excited and enrolled in their level 1 gastrointestinal healing and course. And loved it and felt like it really drastically moved my business from, nutrition and food as medicine and the cooking side of things to more clinical, deeper healing, people struggling with more chronic, complex things, and created a really nice framework to and tools to support people at a deeper level using functional testing. And I kind of just naturally gravitated towards that, really grasped the concepts, and ended up taking all 4 of their levels. So now they're a master clinician through them, and I am an instructor for them now as well. So really got into their organization. They're now the Institute of Restorative Health. But that shifted, like, I think if you asked me before I took the job in Vermont, I could see myself writing a cookbook and being like much more in the kitchen with food or in my clients' kitchens, helping with like pantry makeovers and giving them the tools to really love making their own food. And I think I show that in my life. It's such a passion of mine, the food side of things. But in my own practice, things have really shifted to much more clinical and complex health issues. Uh,
Okay.
Plot twist.
So, well, it is a plot twist, but it's so fun. So I know this, but everybody listening doesn't. How has your demographic of who you are now working with and who you are helping, how has that also shifted along with your specialty?
yeah, I think I did struggle to lean into a niche early on. And I know you kind of say just pick niche or no niche and just move forward. And so I appreciated that freedom so much, because it is intimidating starting out where you're like, I do want to help everyone. We all go through that phase. And I think the sooner we can just take that courageous leap and like name out a niche that we feel aligned with, and just try it on, the better. But that was the longer journey for me. And so I think working in the gym space and then also having the ski connections sort of had me in this, active sort of athlete, demographic, I would say. I thought I wanted to specialize in working with women, and I still say that, but I would say half my practice right now is men and women, which is just interesting. And I've enjoyed really working with males too. So, but at first I was just like pretty much me as the avatar, like the burnt out, you know, driven go getter, like go, 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 do, keep pushing your health stuff aside. Um, Woman. And I think that could be entrepreneur, that could be professional, that could be athlete. I think we all kind of identify in this like go-getter, really driven
Yeah,
personality.
you could just
Yeah,
do more. I could just do more. I could squeeze more in. I can. I have a lot of evidence for that. I've done it many, many, many times. Just like
totally.
I could do, and
And
we
like
can.
put everyone first. Like put you last, put everyone first. And so I still like I totally am speaking to that person, and I have been from early on, even though I've lost clarity in that. And I think who I work with has expanded, but I do think if I had to say like my ideal client and avatar is kind of still that burnt out woman that really is finally ready, or her body is screaming at her to take care of herself, put herself first, so that she can show up in, peak health and show up better for everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is still athletes for you sometimes.
Definitely, yeah, and my business name is still Peak Athlete, and it's spelled EAT, and this idea of, like, okay, even if you don't identify as an athlete, I wanna help people learn how to, like, move and fuel and care for their body with that same intention that athletes put into their training, their competition schedule, because so many people just, like, prioritize, I need to work out, and I have, go, 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 do. And it's like, wait a second, where is rest built in? And what did you forget about lunch? And are you, all these things? Are you sleeping? So that was sort of my birth child with the name, and it has morphed, but it's still, I still very much work with athletes, and I don't know, there's this ebb and flow. I would say I have 78-year-olds, retired people who still I live in a mountain town, and so they maybe still identify with that, person, even though they might not be fully living that elite athlete lifestyle. And then I also work with running coaches and people with big athletic goals as well. So,
Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's talk about what this has looked like. So you started doing in the gym, your personal
yeah.
training in the gym, you're getting established in your new community, which I have no doubt that you very quickly did. And so you start doing these talks at the gym. What were you talking about? What was this like? Like, let's go through.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, what stands out to me most is that people were starting to reach out to me locally to speak. And that was really cool because my name is getting out there and they're thinking of me to come, add value to their community. And so they would tell me what to speak about. Can you present on, fueling for winter endurance? Can you speak to my clients on a lot of it was like fueling for something. So again, this very like athletic fuel mindset. And on the one hand, that was very much my background, but not like the clinical gut healing, digestive health, like these pain points and symptoms that I felt so passionate about. And so I'm like, I didn't feel lit up by the content, but I know I could like speak to it. And so the local ski club was really wanting me to teach their athletes how to fuel and what to bring on the hill for training, and how to fuel for like a race day, because alpine ski racing, the day is so long, but your runs are so short and very high intensity. So again, it was this like fueling category or theme, I guess. And then at the gyms, it was like, okay, a lot of our gym clients have, on the weekends and midweek, they are going out and really pushing their bodies in this more endurance effort style. So, what does that look like in the summer? What does that look like in the winter? What are your tips and tricks? Our local search and rescue, right? They are going out maybe at 2 in the morning with a really intense call. They don't know the severity, they don't know the length. How do they fuel? How do they stay alert? All those sorts of things. Um, and it's fine. It's good. It challenged me in different ways, but I would jump on the Monday coaching calls with TPN, and I'm just like, I feel like a broken record, but how do I connect back to like what I actually do and how I help people and what my 6 month, program and package and care plan looks like. And, I'm sure those people struggle with their gut and digestive health and hormones in different ways, but that's not why they're asking me to speak. And so you had talked about, tell them, give them what they want to know, but also what they don't know they need. I know they need this stuff, but they don't. And I wasn't the best at that in the beginning. So that slowly evolved. And I would say because maybe I wasn't speaking to really what I was passionate about and how I like to work with people, kind of my zone of genius, it was all good and well, but it wasn't a generator of discovery calls and business and kind of like a natural sales feed that just felt really good. And I would kind of get frustrated, but then I'd be like, you know what? This is a way I'm giving back to my local community. It's okay. I'm getting the reps. I'm getting my name out there. I'm providing value, for free or for a really low price in my local community. Like that is a way I can show up and give back right now. So I kind of talked myself into that. And then I finally had an opportunity to kind of come up with the topic and was reached out to speak more with this like gut and digestive health specialist role. And that's what I definitely share I specialize in. And so there was this new just energy behind this presentation, what I wanted to share. I felt like I could be really vulnerable with my story and how I got to here, which I think connects with an audience much more. And and I also thought about, I'm really in front of people that I do want to work with. And if they're coming to this talk, they're coming, the talk is titled like gut and digestive, whatever it was, right? Like conquering gut and digestive health. If you're going to show up,
They're all but coming with the flag that they're waving like, "Hey,
like,
help."
okay, I'm in the room with my people. And I had I'm not very technologically sound, and I had decided or had done some research on creating a QR code for the end of my slides and doing a very clear call to action. Remove the friction and the barriers to have people book a really low stress, low pressure discovery call with me. And I framed it as, tonight we talked about a lot of different things and kind of generalized guidance on how to conquer your gut and digestive issues. But this is such personalized work. And I really believe in like bioindividuality. And I just want to offer you, 20 minutes to book a session with me. We can chat about what you're experiencing and struggling with personally, and see how I can help. But I'd love to just offer that to you tonight, kind of thing. And so I was clear about like why they would want to follow up with a call. Like, let's talk about what you need specifically. And I think that personal touch piece, especially right now, you've talked about how the sales landscape has changed, was huge. And so that was sometime in May of last year, I want to say. So I had a few presentations with that, where that was something I could rinse and repeat if I reached out and could pitch this, or if another business reached out. I'm like, this started to feel like my talk or my
Yeah,
webinar.
your signature
My
presentation.
signature, yeah, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't draining like I felt with some of the others, where I'm like, "Oh, I gotta reinvent the wheel and, like, try to figure out how to fuel for this unique population and activity." It was like, "No, this is what I do. This is how I can help. This is why it's so important, and this is my personal story behind it," and all those things. Um, and I think I got, like, 7 discovery calls from that, and I think there were 12 people in the room. I mean, it was wild.
It's like,
And
okay, well,
You don't have to
yeah,
be great
we're like,
now to figure out that
oh,
that's where
that worked. That worked. And so really quickly, I mean, something like that can transform your business. Up until that point, and even now, like I didn't have a marketing strategy. I don't really have a marketing strategy. I'm very quiet on social media. Maybe I share like a soup I'm making or something that just brings me joy. But it's been word of mouth, it's been referrals, it's been someone who's worked with me and refers someone or a friend or family member. And I've been so fortunate to grow in that way and not have to worry really about the marketing, even though that's very much marketing, but you know what I mean. And then layering these presentations, and as I got better with these presentations and seeing like, wow, when I speak to, when I give kind of my signature talk and how I want to work and help people, and I'm put in the room with those people, like, this works. This is converting. And it does not feel salesy, and it does not feel, there was just this ease and energy that I can't really explain, but it was palpable. And so I had those discovery calls. Most of those turned into clients, and or a spouse was there and referred their partner, even if they didn't come work with me, that kind of thing. So it did lead to future clients. And then that summer, it was June was a bigger month than May, July was a bigger month than June, and it just kept growing throughout the fall, to where my bandwidth really and strategy shifted from, if this is kind of the consistent demand that I'm seeking, like, I need to now move to leverage and scale and maybe bringing on help or that kind of thing, in the new year. And that's where I've been seeding.
Such an exciting place to be. Yeah. Okay. So I love this conversation for so many reasons, but when you say like this was just so I don't know what you said, like your energy was good. It was so fun for you to talk about and you're like, it was palpable. That is the thing. Like we need to spend a little time on that. That is the thing. When you feel like I am flowing, I could just talk about this. People can feel that. They can feel your authority, your expertise. They can feel your passion for it. And it is palpable. Like that's that's it. If you just bottle that up in whatever way that you're selling. I know some people will listen to this and they're like, okay, here's what I'm hearing. I got to go do in-person talks. Maybe, but like, where do you feel like you could have talks like that with people? It could be one-on-one conversations. It could be in a group, like wherever, online, in person, doesn't really matter. But like, where could you show up and have that like, I'm here to serve you and I know what I'm talking about. And if you want to really be served, we have to talk one-on-one. Let's go. Like that certainty is palpable. It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to note, like, in the beginning with those first few presentations that weren't that for me because of the subject matter, and maybe, it was someone asking me to create something new for their, that kind of thing where it's so much work. It's really grindy work. Um, and it's so different than, this is what I can provide for your community. That, this is how I can help your toughest client or get your community better results or whatever it may be. Kind of honoring that zone of genius and then pitching that. Kind of like you're saying in the conversations, like, is your open sign on? Are you saying I can help you? And I think I was doing that, but from, like, the wrong energy and just, like, having to say yes to anything and everything that came my way, even if it didn't feel like my area of expertise or what I like to speak on or to what I thought, my ideal client was. And I do wish in some ways, I would say, I'd love to speak to your community. This is actually what I'd love to share and how I think it it really connects back to this fueling conversation that you wanna have. And then I wish I used my main webinar presentation and added a few slides to connect back to maybe what they reached out to me for in the first place, that kind of thing. But you learn as you go, and that's okay. And I've learned so much because it was such a shift from like the 5+ ones I had done over the years, um, to this one where I tried a few things different and spoke to something I was really passionate about that connected to how I work with people. It really gave them a taste of working with me, how I can help, what their pain points were, all those sorts of things.
Yeah. Oh, I will like what comes up for me when you say that is I had this experience so many times. I talk about like the strategy that you need in your business, the mindset that you need in your business, and the messaging, and like always coming back to like you're gonna have a good strategy that set that up in the beginning. Like it's not like your price makes sense. It's actually profitable. Like what time management, these things. But then what you work on all the time is your mindset and your messaging, your mindset and your messaging. So people come to me and ask me to do talks, same thing. That's like, let's talk about your niche. Let's talk about the strategy for getting clients without social media. Let's talk about like the strategy, the strategy. And I always am like, I'm happy to talk about that. But then I'm always bringing it back to like, but if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your offer, if you don't believe in the capability and resourcefulness of your clients and your mindset is trash about it, none of this strategy is going to work anyway. Like it doesn't matter. And if you believe in it and you have the right strategy, but you're not able to convey that to your people in a way that they understand, and your messaging is really off and they don't understand, they're confused and they don't see the value, then none of it makes sense either. Like it's always all these things together. But I just find that like people want the strategy or they think that they need the strategy. And like what they really need is that, yes, coupled with actually executing it and actually making it sustainable, which is exactly what you're doing health wise. Like you're doing the exact same thing. Like, yeah, let's talk about feeling your body. And also, if you don't digest that food, kind of a problem.
Yep. You have coached me on many coaching calls about that. Like we had talked about working with a lacrosse team, and you're like, yeah, they want to talk about fueling and they think the girls are under fueling. I'm like, I'm sure they are. And you're like, listen, Devin, fueling doesn't even matter if they can't digest your food. Bring it back to that. That's what you love to talk about. That's how you can help. And I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. We need those reminders.
Like, can you come and talk to my daughter's elite lacrosse team where none of the girls are eating enough and like, oh yes, all of the things. But it is, I mean, that's a complex landscape and you're navigating it. You're like, I'm being asked to speak in these places. And I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. Devin's being asked to talk into like some pretty cool groups of people and like on some kind of, big stages. And it's like, what can you bring to the conversation? But also remembering every talk that you did up to the point where you feel like you've really nailed it, like did prepare you for that. Like, okay, I didn't love this moment. I don't feel like I really connected the dots for them. I feel like I gave them what they wanted, but I didn't give them what they needed. And like, how do I, you know, iterate on that, which you've done a great job of.
Yeah. And when it was feeling grindy, like I did want to give up at times and be like, maybe I say no to presentations because they are stressing me out so much. I'm creating new ones every time. I'm not great at making the slides. Like like I am putting hours and hours and hours. Like any business coach would be like, what are you doing? This is not the best use of your time. But I needed that to kind of get the clarity and have it click. I needed to kind of wrestle and be in that uncomfortable taking imperfect action, which I literally have on a sticky note right there in my office. So thank you for that one. But yeah, I needed to grapple with that to kind of get to where I put the pieces together and felt, oh, this is where I need to focus. And like, it's not that I do like showing up and giving these presentations and connecting live with people. And I think I'm pretty good at it. It was just all these other areas of growth that I needed and clarity in myself and how I can help people.
The expectations and managing, okay, ooh, you really want me to come and talk about this, but how do I yeah, we're figuring it
I
out.
didn't feel like an expert in those topics, honestly.
Yeah. 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 Um, I love the imperfect action, but as someone who has coached you over the years, like I just want to say that where I think that you really shine is coming and getting coaching. Because Devin will come to a coaching call, and this is I mean, not recently, but maybe years ago, you come on, you're like, okay, I'm like, what are we coaching on today? And you're like, well, my open sign is off. It's definitely off. I would like coaching on turning my open sign back on. And I just think you've done a great job of that too, of like recognizing when you need an outside opinion, when you need some coaching. And I mean, that probably comes from years of being coached.
Yeah, I love coaching, so the Monday calls are just so nice to be able to still listen in or pop on or yeah, it's still wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about like the nitty-gritty of your presentations and getting people like to that point where you're like, okay, it's time for us to talk about how this applies to you personally. I want to talk to you one-on-one. Do you have any pointers on like what has worked and what hasn't worked for getting people to take the next action with you?
Yeah, I would say, I'm trying to think. I've followed um uh Alex Hormozy and Russell Bronson a bit, and I've played around with their different presentation styles for just really connecting with an audience and crafting that experience, I guess I would say. I think that is really important, and a part of the presentation preparation that I enjoy, but needed. Like, again, framework, systems, like some organization here, a strategy. And so, and I love a personal story, and I feel like I didn't have that in my past presentations. It was kind of just like, okay, here's how you're going to learn how to, like, what to eat before, during, and after your training session or your race, and pretty just stuff you can find on the internet. And I think that's why I'm like, like, I'm not really adding much value or something new. It's like you could Google this and find like some tips on what food, carbohydrates are great kind of thing. So I loved the personal story, and like that why I think really important. And it's not for everyone to share, but I think if you can spend some time, like I like to journal, and I think that has helped me kind of wrap my head around like how my health journey and how my kind of struggle turned into my passion and purpose. And when I feel lost, that kind of brings me back to who I want to work with and how I want to help people. So I think that's huge. And then, we got into some technicality of like the 5 tips or whatever it may be, but really through this gut and digestive lens. So like keep pulling it back to
The main through
yeah,
point.
the main through line. Yep, absolutely. And then really the end, and this is something that you shared, like I know many practitioners in TPN will talk about like, okay, I'm going to be at a farmer's market. Should I have like a pamphlet or a brochure, or what should my business card, something that helps to that they can like give somebody. And I did make business cards way back when. I don't really have a logo. I like feel a little insecure about my business name, and I've been working on like I don't need to focus on that right now. I just need to like help people and work with people. And that's so Andrea's messaging, which I love. It's like, don't get distracted by that stuff. It doesn't matter. And so like I don't really
Don't
send
worry,
people
my
for what.
kids did it. Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. So I created a professional contact in my phone that I could share with people, have friends share with people, because they're like, what's the best way I can connect you with someone? I'm like, just send them my contact, connect us via text, anything, like
So you
lower
just
the.
like made a new contact in your phone that's you professionally.
Yep,
Yeah.
professionally with my like a professional photo, my website, email, and those sorts of things. And so that was one way that I just felt like, okay, I don't have to stress about having a fancy business card. Just it's okay. And then the QR code on my like Q&A slide that just stays up there. And I spoke to it as well, but that, if take out your phone right now, like invite them to do that. And they did. They took out their phone and they scanned the QR code. And I just think those 2 things were so helpful. Um and and then, I just said, um I want to simplify and make it easy for you to take that critical first step towards getting the answers that you deserve. And I spoke to how, we talked about a lot of things, and I really would love to help you, because I know how individual this work is and your own struggles are. And so I want to offer just like no obligations 20-minute discovery call. It's just a personalized opportunity to discuss your unique symptoms, your specific struggles, and how kind of a customized, personalized roadmap could help, and how I might be able to help. Um, so I just left that up there, invited them to take their phones out. They scanned the QR code. It took them to a booking link for my discovery calls. And we went into a Q&A. And that got to sit up there. I have done this on a more panel discussion where we each got to present for a few minutes, and then it was an open panel Q&A, and it wasn't as effective because my slide, it moved on to the next presenter. And so it was like, you know, and here's a QR code, and then they're like, you're done. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that one. So and that's okay. I learned from that, and I'm like, okay, what could I have done differently? Maybe those sorts of things, or had a QR code on it. I don't know. I have to think through that, but every instance is a little different. But I think don't stress about the business cards. Do a professional contact in your phone. Such an easy way to just send out and have friends, family, local connections. You go grab a coffee with someone, send them my contact, and then the QR code at the end of your presentations, and really make up that personalized call to action. It didn't feel salesy. It was honest. It was I can't talk about your individual issues in this 45-minute presentation. So these are going to be generalized things to think about, try to apply, see if they work, and let's hop on a call and really like create a strategy for
For
you.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what people absolutely want.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. You're dropping all the little juicy nuggets here. I love it. So you've said a little bit about this, but I want to know, is there anything else that has surprised you about your business? You said you figured you'd kind of be in the kitchen, you'd be doing something like there, and that has surprised you. But is there anything else when you reflect back on like what your business has become now and how it's different than what you thought it would be? Any expectations that were not reality?
Yeah, I mean, a
That we
little
always
bit.
like.
When I stopped working at the gym, I realized that I had been in some kind of like coaching, mentoring role in different aspects of my life. And all of a sudden, even though I'm doing that for my clients in a way, I felt like I was missing this piece that I really enjoyed. And so through that, I applied to be an intern and now instructor for Institute of Restorative Health and mentor up and coming practitioners and work alongside a team. And so that was a shift and a pivot that I did not see coming. But it really took like leaving the gym and going fully on my own, which I needed. I needed that focus and clarity. At first I needed to meet people. I was new and I needed to get myself out there and get out of the house. Um, and then I'm not someone that thrives in like doing a lot of different things and piecing it together. And so I kind of needed to like commit and go all in, like jump in with both feet. Um, and through that, I realized I was really like craving this like coach, mentor, role that I like to wear. And so that was one piece. And then also through that kind of foreshadowing, I am onboarding a practitioner to see clients through my business. And so where I'm excited about that is like I think I do belong in some kind of team environment, and having a team and investing in TPN and different continuing education and business mentoring and things. I do feel like I'm a part of something, and we're collaborative, and we're sharing best practices and commiserating about challenges along the way.
Help me get
And
my open sign back up.
yes, and encouraging me to open my sign back up, and like, yeah, just all the mindset stuff. And I feel so thrilled to be having my business move in a direction where I don't think I will have this like massive team. I like the simplicity of it, but to just feel in collaboration with someone, to learn from someone, to bounce ideas off. That's really an environment that I do well in, not just being like alone all the time. And building protocols and troubleshooting. So those are two things in like the last year and a half or 2 years that have really shifted and feel really good.
Yeah. Isn't it so fun? Isn't it I love the opportunity to reflect and to look back and go, "Oh, yeah, that was so different than how I thought it would be," because in my experience, it makes me so much more willing to explore new opportunities when they come. It's like, "Well, I didn't
Yes.
know that I was even gonna end up here, so, let's be open-minded about where
Yeah.
else things can go," you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
I think
good.
about that with Vermont all the time. Like my boxes were packed and I had a car full of all my belongings going to Salt Lake and starting a business knowing nobody in a city. And my things have changed. So yeah, life is wild that way. And yeah, I think the imperfect action and gaining confidence by doing. There's just been like a couple of these business I don't know, one-liners or something like that that just have like gone up on my wall and been reminders for me throughout this journey. And they're just such good little nuggets. Like you gain confidence by doing, and that basically is keep taking that imperfect action. Uh, and I need that. Like it's okay, move on,
Keep
learn,
going.
iterate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your clients are mirrors. I think about that one all the time.
I
Perfection is
love it
not
for
the
people
goal.
listening to the audio. Devin's looking at her wall. She
Yeah,
clearly
I'm
is like,
looking at my wall. I have perfection is not the goal. Impact is be
oh,
committed
that's
but
so
not
good.
attached. Um, yeah, yeah. Work
So
work
good.
ethic, not work or what is it? Worth ethic, not work ethic. Those are some things like
Yeah.
I think that athlete background, like you can attach your self-worth to success or how you do. And I've needed to separate those two and know that like my worthiness doesn't come from how successful this business is. And I just love the kind of energy you put into business and entrepreneurship because it's so like not natural for me of like, no big deal. It's fun. Like, what if this was fun? And what if this like really didn't matter? And I'm like, it feels like it matters
It
so
really
much. And you're like,
matters.
yeah. And if you can just think about how much you're learning and growing. And like, if the journey is actually what matters, not the destination, like we can just enjoy the journey a little bit. And
Mhm.
I love those reminders. I need them so much. So
It's just not lost on me. Can you imagine this world that we live in right now where we can just help strangers on the internet? We can help people in our town. We can just do that and it's a
yeah.
job. And 2 generations ago, opening a business was hard and you
Yeah.
needed capital and you needed a storefront and there was machines to buy and it was so risky. And for us, it's like really not that risky anymore.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. We
It's
get to have
amazing.
benefits of it, I mean, huge benefits, and the risk is like discomfort.
Yep. Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
how incredible is that? Yes, there could be more risks too, but for the most part, it's just not the same.
Absolutely. I had a friend ask me yesterday, do you think you ever want to have a brick and mortar someday? And just like, I think a few years ago, I would have thought that would have been amazing and maybe meant more success and more like legitimacy in my business. But now I'm like, no way. I mean, the way I can help people and arguably more people, absolutely, than in my small community and a brick and mortar, like this, what a gift this is. And if I'm gonna continually bump up against discomfort. But that's really not it, but that's gonna be my biggest hurdle time and time
It
again.
is. I mean, to a
Yeah.
certain extent, it is. Like, your business success is gonna be measured by how uncomfortable you're willing to be for all of us.
Yep.
Not you, but, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say to somebody who's just starting their business or who is listening to this and they're like, "Okay, I'm kinda revved up right now." Like, would you have any other words of wisdom we didn't touch on? You've already given
yeah.
a ton, but anything else?
Yeah. Um, this has come up a bit in my IRH role and mentoring some of the up and coming practitioners. And so I definitely think it's worth sharing because I remember feeling this way and I think it's so common. But this this resistance to investing in yourself, whether that's something like TPN on the business side or continuing education, I really want to take this new course when they're not making money. When you feel like you don't deserve to spend money when you're not making money. And so you set this goal like when I sign a client, I might then be able to register for this class or this whatever. And I just want to be a little like voice of encouragement in your head of investing in yourself and your business early and really, but with a strategy. I think what we hear on the reciprocating end is like, I have paid for so many courses and so many business things, and I have spent so much money and I haven't finished a single one or I haven't gotten anything out of it. And so I do recognize that as a struggle. But I want to say invest in yourself and your business early on, even when you don't feel ready, even before you feel worthy of spending that money on yourself. But really have a strategy of like, I am a worthy investment, or this is a worthy investment because I know I will get this ROI and have that plan. And I think the 30K or the 3K in 30 days is a great example of that, of like, you're going to spend this scary amount of money and you're going to have a plan with accountability to see it through and get your money and maybe then some back. And when you do something like that and realize that it's not a scary investment anymore. If you can make your money back or more, that's a really smart investment. And if you start to gain trust with yourself that like, ooh, I'm going to take this course because I really want to. And this is my plan, whether I raise my prices or I say, I need 5 people right now who are ready to learn blood chemistry or whatever it may be. And try to sell them before class even starts. I just had a conversation with a student about that strategy, and she wrote back to me and she got 4 students or 4 clients before class starts in
Before
March.
she
And
yeah,
she wasn't
she's like, "I'm gonna do
gonna take
this."
it. She was like, "I'd love to know, a more affordable blood chemistry course. If you have any recommendations, I'm just not ready for this one." And I was like, "Here are some recommendations, and I just want to tell you, like, what if you could pay for class before I even started? What if you turned on your open sign and said, I can help you with your blood chemistry and your blood labs with, by April?" And boom, 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 boom. And I think that is such gold for people. We're really nervous to spend money on ourselves. We don't think we're worthy until we're making X amount of money. And when you invest early, but strategically, and really commit, it will accelerate your personal growth and business growth, and really get you to where you want to go far faster than you ever thought was possible. So,
I couldn't agree more. So the
yeah.
3K in 30 days challenge that Devin is talking about, for anybody who's listening that doesn't know what that is, that's something that we do in the Profitable Nutritionist program. And you can start it today. You can join today. It start today in the 3K in 30 days challenge. But the goal of the challenge and why the challenge was born was this exact situation of people coming to me and saying, like, I want to invest in this program, but I have to make my money back right away. It was like, well, let's make a plan to do that then. Okay, here's what we're going to do. And so it's 10 minutes a day, one exercise per day for 30 days. And the results that people get in the challenge are mind blowing, not because the challenge is that incredible. I mean, I do think it's helpful, but it's like the belief in, okay, I'm going to really do this for 30 days and I'm going to get the ROI. It's that commitment to like, okay, let's see, how's this going to work? Where are the clients coming from? Where is the money coming from? Where are the opportunities that I'm not seeing today? But when I have these tools to look for them and dig them and find them, oh, they're right there. Like we could do this right now. And I love that. Like I couldn't have even thought of a better topic to end on because really that willingness to invest in ourselves at in whatever level, in your health, in your business, in some area of your life where you have a goal. I actually just released a podcast on this today. So Devin doesn't know this because it just probably released when we were on here. But it's about that. It's like, are you a product of your product? Are you in transformation yourself? Or are you expecting people to invest in something that you're not willing to invest in? And like, I think that that can be in our health, it can be in our business. But if you're stuck, and I say you, like all of us will experience this, but if anyone listening to this is stuck in their investing in themselves and like, I got to just DIY it harder, I got to go figure it out myself first before I can then get to the next level or I can allow myself to invest at the next level, like whatever those stories are, you're going to attract people to you that have the same experience with their health. They're like, well, I got to DIY it first. Like, I got to go on a diet first before I can have you help me with my diet. It doesn't make a lot of sense when clients say that. You're like, no, I can help you. Let's do
Mhm.
this. But are you doing it for yourself? Are you seeking out that help for yourself? It's something to reflect
It's
on for sure.
huge. The other piece I like too is it can give you, if you're a little uncertain with pricing, I think that can be another hurdle for practitioners starting out. And I just want to speak to that for a second because if you see this thing that you feel called to invest in, but you're like in your head saying, "Ah, I can't until," um, it gives you this number that's maybe smaller than like what you want to earn this year, right? And say it's the 3K in 30 days, and you're like, okay, 3K in 30 days. Do I want to try to sell 2 clients, 3 clients, 5 clients, right? And you can decide your pricing based on that. And I think it was such a shift for me to be like, okay, if I want to make this in a year, if it's this price, I need to sell 35 people. If it's this price, I need to sell like 12 people in the whole year or something like that. And it just was like, man, I want to do that because I won't get burnt out and overwhelmed. I can deliver so much value and really be present and really, yeah, over deliver and show up for them the way I want to show up. I get really frustrated when I feel spread too thin and I don't feel as prepared for my sessions, and my I'm buried in recaps, and like that is the quest to burnout. And so if you want to invest in this thing, take the price and do the math a little bit of like, okay, if it was $1,000, I need to sell 3 clients. If it was 1,500, I need to sell 2, those sorts of things. And that is a tangible, smart goal where you're like, all right, I'm going to track my conversations, and my goal is to sell 2 of them this month. That's such a doable goal, and I think you put the reps in when you start thinking about it that way. I approach things so emotionally, and my husband had to help me with the numbers to be like, "Let's see if this is a scary investment or not." If you sold this, this, and this, like,
That
"Dev,
would
that's not
more
a
than
scary
pay for
investment
it.
anymore. That's a
Yeah.
doable investment. Go for it." And I'm like, "Wow," it takes the emotion out of the numbers and
Mhm.
just
I
provides
think
such clarity.
that's such a good tip because I think that I see people do this a lot of thinking that they have to maximize the investment. And so this is something I actually love that we're talking about. This is something I've been putting a lot of thought into recently. Like, how do we quantify the return on an investment? Is it that I went to every call and I watched every video and I completed the workbook and I showed up to every session? Like, what is it? Like, how is that maximizing the investment? Or is it like I grabbed the one nugget that I needed and I ran with it and I maximized it that way? And like, I trust myself to get what I came for in whatever scenario. And gosh, that has just served me so well to not put pressure on myself to like have to have this fixed formula. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just like one thing I need to hear that more than pays for an investment. I'm thinking business-wise right now in particular, but health-wise, it's the same thing. Like, you never know with somebody what that one thing is gonna be for them that they grab onto, this one habit, this one nugget, this one thing that makes them feel so much better. And I think we do a disservice to people to set the expectation of like, this is gonna be a long journey. We're going to be in it together. It's going to be hard. I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to have 1 million steps along the way, and you're going to have to take all of them. Like, what if that's not even true? What if it's like there might just be one nugget week 1? It's going to
Yeah.
change everything for you. Let's go. Let's get
Yep.
started. Like, let's do that now. So good.
Yeah. So, so good.
Okay, this is such a great conversation. I am so excited that we got to have it today. What are your um I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to say, who should people send to you as they're listening to this episode? They're like, okay, so Devin's an expert in a lot of things. And I'm thinking of like a bunch of people I want to send her way. Why don't you tell the people who the clients are that they should send to you if anybody is coming to mind?
Yeah. Such a good question. So I touched on it in the beginning, but I really like to work with women who are feeling really burnt out, low energy. They're putting everyone ahead of them in their priority list above themselves. And they are struggling with bloating and gas and food sensitivities. And they're like working out harder and feeling worse. And just they're trying to DIY because they don't feel like they deserve to reach out and get help. And they're like, I can do it on my own. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. And it's like they're working harder as their health is maybe getting worse and their quality of life is getting worse. Um, and they may be athletes, they may not, but I think that, like, personality is pretty synonymous across the board. Um, and yeah, they want to reach their peak health, eliminate their bloat, get their energy back, rebalance their hormones, and be able to reach their peak
Yeah.
health. That's kind of my
And they want an expert
niche.
practitioner guiding them through it and all of the clinical stuff that you do behind the scenes with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I can work with mold and toxins and complex things like that, autoimmunity for sure. I do. I think when I look back to myself, like I had done the doctor dating. And so it's really that person that has been struggling for answers too.
Mhm.
I'm usually not the first step in their health journey, I would say. But
They're
that's
the
a great point,
complex ones.
Andrea. Yeah.
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 Yep. Okay, so how
Just
do they
think
find
about
you?
your
Where do they
friends,
go?
think about your family. Yeah.
Yes, the complex ones, the ones that and I think that a lot of people listening to this, even practitioners themselves, like to have that person that they are like, "Okay, but for the ones that feel really complex for me, like, who do I send them to?" And I think that that's you. So, love it. Where do they find you? Where do they go?
Yeah. So where do they find me? My website is Peak Athlete. spelled EAT, like eat, .com. And it will be getting a facelift soon as I'm growing and evolving. I do like to share just kind of like some everyday passion stuff and recipes and things on social media. So I have Devin S. Delaney is a handle, and then Peak Athlete is my other handle. And those are kind of the main ways right
That's
now.
it.
Am I missing anything?
Perfect. All right.
Yes.
So we'll have that all linked up in the
Thank you.
description somewhere,
Yeah.
wherever people are seeing this or listening to it. It'll be linked up
Yeah.
below somewhere. They can go find you. Just thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
this
Andrea.
conversation and your
Yeah.
willingness to share. I loved this conversation. I really love your willingness to just be like, yeah, did this, did this, did this. And now, like, even though I know how successful you've been over the years and this has come, you're like, now I'm really feeling like I am kind of getting into a sweet spot. And I think that that's what so many of us need to hear and need the reminder of. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Love it. Yay. Okay. I love this conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure we will have more.